Have you ever thrown an empty egg carton into the garbage instead of the black bin? Or maybe you toss pop cans or a young yogurt container in the trash instead of the blue box? Why am I asking you these seemingly boring questions? The answer is simple. If you're at all plugged into social media, you'll know that everybody is talking about global warming, climate change, and the imminent doom headed for our planet. But what most people don't seem to realize is the fact that recycling is actually an important and impactful tool in the fight to preserve our planet. Now you're probably thinking this climate change thing and people not recycling is way bigger than me. What can I possibly do to have any impact on any meaningful level? What most of us don't realize is that recycling absolutely has to start at the individual level, with each of us doing our part in order to make our planet a sustainable place to live. In case some of you aren't convinced, climate change is really happening and that recycling is overrated, I'm going to walk you through why the topic of climate change should be on all of our radars, what it means for our planet, and how each of us can make an actual difference by recycling. So why is everyone talking about climate change? Because it is actually happening right now. The consequences of climate change can actually be very scary. For example, the amount of sea levels have risen in the past decade is nearly double that of the past century. A steady increase in global surface temperatures has been recorded since the 1970s, with all 10 of the warmest years occurring in the past 12 years. Add this to recorded warmer ocean temperatures, shrinking ice sheets, and glacial retreat at a faster pace than ever recorded, and it's completely obvious that the climate change is happening right before our eyes. And what does this climate change mean for us? I mean, as residents of Canada, shouldn't we be happy about potentially shorter winters? Well, unfortunately, the term climate change and global warming can be a little bit misleading. It's not all a big beach party. Scientific modeling dictates that climate change leads to dirtier air, which is a killer for asthmatics and others with respiratory illness. I have asthma myself, and I know firsthand the dangers of it. It can be really scary when you're gasping for air. More frequent and severe weather, including major storms, heat waves, droughts, and floods. In fact, by the year 2100, it's estimated our oceans will be 1 to 4 feet higher. This threatens coastal systems and low-lying areas, including the biggest cities in the world, such as New York, LA, Miami, Mumbai, Sydney, and Rio de Janeiro. This also will cause higher death rates due to direct impacts of more frequent natural disasters and the indirect effects of heat exacerbated life-threatening illnesses. So let's go to the part where we talk about how recycling can make a difference and how each one of us can go about recycling in our daily lives in order to combat climate change, shall we? Recycling reduces greenhouse gas emissions from landfills, a major contributor to global warming and resulting climate change. It can also conserve natural resources, leaving more trees standing to filter out polluted air and save energy. For example, did you know that when you recycle aluminum cans, 95% of the energy required to produce those cans from raw materials is saved, and that energy saved from recycling just one glass bottle is enough to light a bulb for 4 hours? In fact, a recycling rate as low as 30% is almost equivalent of removing 30 million cars. These examples just show how each of us doing our part leads to a major positive impact. It's therefore clear that we each need to recycle as much waste as possible. Take a minute to find out exactly what items can go in your black box, your blue box, and your green bin. It's probably a lot more than you think. More than 40 years ago, US President John Kennedy said, "The supreme challenge of our times is the vulnerability of our planet." He was referring to nuclear war. Though the threat may have changed, the vulnerability has not, as us humans, with our endless consumption and waste production, still remain the biggest threat to ourselves and our survival. I hope that I've inspired you to take action in your daily life and join thousands of individual groups and businesses who are already changing their ways by recycling. Join me in the fight to preserve our planet. Together we can make a difference, but that difference begins with you.